Yo, what's good? It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Today I want to do this video because I think it's a little bit overdue, but it's on the acquisition of Josh Jackson to the Toronto Raptors. Once again, if you like the video, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. I truly appreciate all the love and support. I really do, honestly. I kind of got re-inspired to do this video because NBA Chef, he's another, Raptors fan, podcaster, YouTuber cat who like did a video on him, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot to do the video I wanted to do on this move. Now, the reason why I also wanted to do it is because, I'm actually a big Josh Jackson fan. Coming out of the University of Kansas, he was a huge prospect. I thought he had mad potential. Came in like right after like Andrew Wiggins. He was like the complete antithesis too of like an Andrew Wiggins type of like energy player, where Andrew Wiggins is like mad laid back, quiet, kind of composed to himself, sometimes passive. Josh Jackson is the complete opposite, right? But they're both these extremely high level athletes, right, with a lot of skill, right? Josh Jackson was one of the highest recruits in his high school class, came out with Jason Tatum, Lonzo Ball, Markelle Fultz. He was ranked actually ahead of Jason Tatum for a lot of good reasons if you read back through that draft. A big thing was actually Jason Tatum and Josh Jackson both wanted to get to Phoenix. Neither of them wanted to go to Boston because Gordon Hayward was there. But by fluke of coincidence, because Josh Jackson kind of had like an attitude during his like draft process and like trying to stay away from Boston, Boston was like, I forget this, we're just going to go with Tatum, right? So they go with Tatum to be like a backup behind Gordon Hayward. Not a good position if you're a dynamic scoring forward to come in behind a veteran dynamic scoring forward in his prime, right? Terrible position to be in. But lo and behold, fluke accident happens to Gordon Hayward, right? And at the very beginning of the season, Jason Tatum is thrust into this starting role, right? And from there, the rest is history. But it's to say that Josh Jackson, who got his wish, and this is kind of like I might have to do when players get it wrong video on Josh Jackson, real talk, because the situation he landed in Phoenix was absolutely horrible. Like the Phoenix Suns organization is like in that line of like somewhere between New York Knicks, Chicago Bulls, Sacramento Kings, back in the day, Clippers, like those type of franchises that are always on struggle, never seem to have a clear direction, and guys just have a horrible time developing and maximizing their careers, right? Even the can't miss guys never quite fill out as much as you think that they should, right? When you look at like a DeAndre Ayton or even like a Karl Anthony Towns, right? High-end offense, where's the defense, where's the leadership, basketball IQ, right? You look at DeAndre Ayton, okay, you figured out the defense, but why are you so passive on offense when you're a monster on offense your entire life, right? Like what? There's always something missing when it comes to the guys developing within these systems, right? Or they just undermine their development like the New York Knicks do or the Chicago Bulls have done in the past, right? It's like they're always on struggle. Well, Josh Jackson landed into a terrible situation. Despite them having Devin Booker, who was still a really young player at the time, instead of them being able to bring them together in a complementary role, which I thought they would have been perfectly suited for, Josh Jackson essentially, he ends up having like a Michael Beasley type situation, right? You got a little bit of attitude, a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, too young to know better, and an organization not serious about you enough to connect with you and get you on track. And very quickly doesn't want to be bothered with you, despite all your talent. And it's a shame because both were extremely talented individuals who were dominant, right? But when you have Josh Jackson, and just for y'all who may not be too familiar with his game, he's about 6'8". He's a guard forward, and I mean it, a guard forward, quick twitch athlete in kind of that Paul George mold where he can guard and play that point position, shooting guard position, because he's quick enough to defend on both sides of the ball, right? He's able to get down in that stance and move his feet. He's also able to beat you with a quick first step, which is rare for players of that 6'8", tilt. Like if you're 6'8", your first step isn't always as explosive as quick, right? That's what made Carmelo Anthony so dangerous, was that he was quick, right? Fast twitch means a big deal the bigger you get, because it means you don't have to do a whole lot to get by your man. It means that they have to worry about your first step long before they worry about your handle, right? And you can play them on either in order to create your shot, play make for others, get into the paint, collapse the defense, right? All these things come from a basic physical fundamental element of being quick twitch or fast twitch within your legs, right? In your footwork. But this gives him a huge advantage because not only is he 6'8", but he's an amazing athlete. He's a great athlete. He's of the upper tier of athletes in the NBA, which means that he's of the top 0.5% in the world, right? Easily over the rim, 35 plus inch vertical, off 1 feet, 2 feet, extremely skilled when it comes to his ball handling. He can facilitate, has really good facilitation skills, really solid, strong handle. He has great intensity on defense, a high motor, a lot of elements that you would love in a prospect. So what's going wrong from him? Well, like I said in the beginning, bad situation. He got into a little issue. I forget, it was like either a nightclub thing or like a marijuana thing. Maybe it was like he got pulled over, something like that, arrested. But it was one of those things where it's like, look, if you understand young players, you give them the benefit of the doubt and you work with them. Phoenix didn't work with him. They tossed him out. And so from there he goes to, I believe it's like the Memphis Grizzlies. He actually does well in Memphis. But they had a deep team. They had guys already locked in. They didn't want to sign him for a whole lot of money. They had some other moves to make. And so they ended up going with letting him go to the Detroit Pistons. From the Detroit Pistons, he has another good year with Dwayne Casey over there, right? But same situation. Too many guys at that position, and he gets squeezed out. Trade comes, ends up with Marvin Bagley in that trade going to Sacramento, right? Same situation. Too many guys, not enough structure, not enough opportunity, and he bounces around again. Well, lo and behold, where does he end up? With the Toronto Raptors. And this is where we are right now. The Toronto Raptors, they are a godsend to any player who needs development. Any player who wants to be a part of a system where they can apply a maximum amount of their skills and abilities for the purpose of winning, so that they can begin to reframe how they're seen as an athlete. The Toronto Raptors is probably one of the best organizations to land in the NBA, flat out, because of that element, right? Either they're going to develop you in the G League and give you real minutes with a real opportunity to get called up to the major team, right, to the NBA club and be a part of that, or you at least getting good enough minutes to develop your game in real time, right? You're not sitting at the end of a bench. Right? You're not just melandering in a bunch of practices as a fill-in guy, and then before your contract is up on the 10-day or the unguaranteed contract, they let you go or trade you away, right? Toronto's actually going to invest in you, right? Now, the beautiful thing is that he fits marvelously, right? From the Scotty Barnes to Pascal Siakams, OG Anunobys, what do they like? Everybody say it all together. Versatile, high-skilled wing players. They might be taller, they might be shorter, but they can play on the wing. They've got size, they've got athleticism, they have length, they have intensity. They can guard at least 4 positions, at least. This is a foundational requirement, right? Even Fred VanVleet, you might catch him guarding a small ball, small forward, right? If somebody goes with a small lineup, right? Forgive me if you hear cars and subways. I'm in New York right now visiting fam, right? But it's to say that this is the type of player that they want. Right? But here's the thing also, is that it's timing for the Toronto Raptors. Masai Ujiri, we all say in Masai we trust, is for good reason. You want to know why? Because Masai understands timing. He understands where you're at as a team and what is the best move to be made. You see, there's a lot of players on this roster who have talent, but not everybody is ready to win right now. Not everybody is ready to win right now. And some of those who are in a position to where they might be trying to cash out a little bit more than the Raptors are willing and able to pay. What do you mean by that? Well, when you look at this roster, you got Ron Harper Jr., Jeff Doughton, Gabe Brown, right? All these guys are young. Delano Banton, you got Malachi Flynn, you got, you got Christian Koloko, you got these young guys who they got talent. But are they ready? Are they ready? You got Juancho Hernan-Gomez, never played really meaningful minutes in the NBA in terms of winning. Otto Porter Jr., who's more on the way out in terms of his career, right? And when you think about where these guys are at, Thaddeus Young, right? Is this really who you want to invest in the long run? And when you got guys like Otto Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., and Fred VanVleet all able to opt out next summer, right? Masai Ujiri is thinking, can I bring in somebody who could potentially do a chunk of what they do at a cheaper rate so I can maximize this roster? So it gives me options, right? He's playing chess, not checkers here, right? But on top of that, he's also somebody who brings a dynamic that they simply don't have on this team. They don't have a quick twitch playmaker. They don't have a guy who can just blow by guys off the first step and get into the paint, right? Most everybody else has to set you up off the dribble or in transition, coming at you downhill 100 miles an hour and give you a quick in and out. Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, right? These guys have really good footwork. They've developed really good footwork to be able to get to the basket, but most of the time they have to turn their back to you, which means that they don't blow by you. They kind of get an edge on you, give you a little bit of body, bump you back you down, spin up and under, you know what I'm saying? That's how they get to the rim. But in the playoffs, that's a little bit easier to game plan for. So those forays to the rim during the regular season end up becoming pull-ups or turnaround fadeaways from the 10 to 15 foot range in the playoffs. And that lowers your field goal percentage. That lowers your ability to actually collapse the defense and create open looks for everybody else. And this is where Josh Jackson comes in, right? He's 25 years old, right? He's entering into his prime. His ability to get to the rim at will is going to be a huge advantage to this team. If he can come in and carve out a role, right? If he can come in and take Otto Porter Jr.'s minutes, right? He's going to have to take those minutes, right? Justin Champagnie, take those minutes, right? Ron Harper Jr., he's going to have to take guys' minutes. Thaddeus Young, he's going to have to demand those minutes. He's not going to be able to just slide in and be like, oh, I'm just as good or I'm a little bit better than. No. He's going to have to come in training camp, and from day one, they have to be like, yo, this dude is far and ahead, obviously, better than these other options. So let's look at how we need to position these other options now as we go through training camp to maybe say, hey, we're going to have a great G League squad. We're going to have a developing G League squad that's killing, maybe wins the G League championship like the Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell teams back in the day used to do. And eventually get, brought up into the, main club. But this is what's in front of Josh Jackson. And I'm rooting for him. I think he's got the talent. I think he's got the drive. But is he in the right mindset? Because Nick Nurse is not going to play around. Nick Nurse is not just going to give him an opportunity. Masai Ujiri is not going to say like, hey, I brought you in the door and I'm going to hold your hand all the way to the bench and into playing time. You're going to have to earn and get it out the mud like everybody else. This is what this team is about. If you watched any of my older videos, you understand I know what this team is about, what the culture that they've established here. And so either he wants it and he's ready to go get it, or he's not. And we'll see. Training camp starts in a few weeks. Let me know what y'all think. Hit me up in the comment section. I appreciate y'all staying with me to the end of the video. Like and subscribe, hit the bell for notification. I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Peace.